Hello, my name is Omar Ambasad. It's Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018 at 5:16 p.m. in Toronto. So yesterday and the day before, I posted a few videos that I went through about an arraignment process that I had gone through about 2 years ago, and demonstrated while I was talking what triggers were and how it can affect you when they occur. Um, Sometimes you can see them coming. I mean, I knew that it was a very upsetting topic when I was talking about it, so it wasn't completely surprising. Um, but sometimes the timing is surprising. But anyways, as you can tell, you get over them. They occur. And as I said in those blogs, well, one of the videos, you work through it, and once you understand where it's coming from, why it's happening, um, and you analyze it. Actually, if you analyze it, you'd find that once you understand what happened, that the pain actually um, is not as intense, and the more you do it, the less painful it becomes. So eventually, the trigger is diffused completely diffused. So let me just talk a little bit more about the ways that if you find yourself being psychologically victimized, and this doesn't only happen to targets, it can happen to kids who are being bullied in school. It can happen in relationships. Um, it can happen to anyone in any relationship. As long as you're dealing with people, this is going to happen. So maybe this should be taught in school, this skill. It's a part of a life skill course, how to deal with triggers in your life. And life is full of triggers, right? I mean, an organization or a group of people doesn't have to go about putting you through a program to form triggers for you to have triggers. Life is a set of triggers. Learning, the process of learning, is a process of triggering, because really it's based on a process of triggering, because it's association, to remember certain things. You see red, you might remember a flag, you might remember a ball, you might remember a place. This is all part of a memory process. So a memory forming process. So as I said, life is a set of triggers. The learning process is a set of triggers. Pavlovian conditioning is one way that we associate things. And by the way, Pavlovian conditioning is exactly what's used in the community targeting program to form triggers. But these are destructive triggers. They're positive and there are negative ones. So the triggers that are formed within the community program are negative ones. Negative ones. So let me go back and talk a little bit about desensitizing triggers, negative triggers. So I found, because I meditate and I've been meditating since I was young, um, that that in the process of meditation, the triggers shows up. The triggers show up because in order um, to meditate, you have to focus your thoughts and bring yourself into the center of your being. And in order to do that, you have to go through the layers of consciousness, the five senses. You concentrate on your breathing, and then eventually the five senses, the stimulation of the senses disappear. and you don't feel them anymore, and you go on a level of consciousness that is just I'm going to say pure consciousness, but those are the only words that come to mind. So let's go with that, pure consciousness. Um, but in order to do that, you have to go through triggers. You have to go through um, the um, the uh, the layers of triggers, or actually the layers of consciousness that have the triggers in them. And people who do meditation will know exactly what I'm talking about. For those who do not meditate, then maybe do a little bit of research. And not only would it help you deal with triggers, negative ones, but it will help you focus. Just meditation will help you overall. So, it's to me, meditation is um, the only way to deal with life, the stresses in life. Not only stresses, but to develop yourself um, from being reactive to being a fully conscious human being. It's the only way. There is no other way. There is absolutely no other way, in my opinion. So everybody should be meditating. So when you get to the point of focusing your thoughts to get to the center of yourself in order to be at peace with everything else, with yourself, with your world, and everything in your world, you have no choice. You have absolutely no choice but to deal with the triggers because it comes up as you focus inwards. It just pops up, and you're forced to deal with it. So then it becomes a question of what are the steps you take to deal with them once they come up. So that's a whole different process, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. You can do your own research. My therapist um, and myself talked a little bit about triggers. We didn't go into too much detail, but it helped me understand how they're formed. And I did a whole lot of research on my own as well. So, meditation. I would suggest, strongly suggest, and I would even say it's a necessity, as breathing. Meditation is a necessity, just like breathing is a necessity to be able to live your life without being buried with negative triggers, which is what some of life experiences are. Somebody dies, somebody gets sick, somebody has cancer, somebody gets a heart attack. These can form painful memories that will trigger you to other things that will trigger you to feel certain things. You know, these are natural life experiences. So meditation will help you there as well. So this is one way, actually the um, most important way that I deal with triggers and how I desensitize them. And so it doesn't become um, destructive. I don't react in any sort of a destructive way towards another person. If I vent and I vent my anger, that's not directed to anyone. It's not it's not meant for somebody's ears. If they're recording it, it shouldn't be recorded. But it's not meant. It's not directed at another human being. This is just me verbalizing um, uh, the feelings I feel when I'm intensely incited to anger because of harassment. So then I listen to myself venting. So I record it sometimes and I listen to myself and I learn from what I say. And it's a process with me. So this is another way that I deal with the triggers when they pop up, when I become aware of them as I meditate, and I meditate daily. This is why the triggers don't layer on me, and I come to center. So I heard the word outside the window from one of the people who is actually harassing me. And he's talking about personality splits. He said something to the effect that there is something wrong with her. She's split. So this is my my response to that. There is no way that somebody who's meditating splits, because in order to split, you have to be in intense pain, excruciating pain, to become disassociated, pain that you cannot deal with, to the point where you become disassociated, permanently disassociated. Now, if you have if you have an excruciatingly painful experience, initially you tend to block it out. And then as time goes by, it comes back into your mind and you deal with it. That's not splitting. That's the mind's natural way of protecting you until you deal with it. Until you deal with the whole experience of it. So that's not splitting. You may get, if it's intense negative um, trigger triggers, then you may become slightly disassociated temporarily. But if you know what's going on, and you know this technique that's being used on you, then these effects are very temporary. It's not permanent at all. Therefore, you will not split. It's impossible to split if you meditate on a regular daily basis, which I do. So there's no splitting. I know this is a public program I'm in, which is why I'm speaking out, because part of the program is to spread propaganda, lies about me, and portray me as this hugely criminal person, a prostitute, which I'm not, mentally ill, which I'm not, and a whole list of things. I mean, how many things can you possibly accuse one person of? I think I'm being accused of just about everything on the books by now. So anyway, I'm going to just close it off there. It's more than 12 minutes. So talk to you another time.